I'm Colonel retired Biff Haddon. I served in the Army 31 years, and as a young officer I had a chance to serve in Vietnam. I learned over the years that what I experienced in Vietnam caused me to encounter some severe problems emotionally and psychologically. I continued to serve successfully, but still knew inside I had those problems. And it was a few years ago that I sought help to find out how I could fix what I saw as internal problems.
I'm Harold McRae. I'm a psychotherapist in private practice here in Columbus. I've been practicing for 30 years. 25 of that's been working with combat vets, and 30 of it's working with soldiers. I learned a process years ago called TAT, which is a very simple modified cognitive behavioral stress reduction technique. It's not therapy, and it's not a substitute for therapy. It's just a process that helps the soldiers resolve the emotional impact of the traumatic events.
Yeah, I'm First Sergeant Mario Serenes. I've served with the 3rd Infantry Division for 14 out of my 17 years of service. I've done 3 deployments in Operation Iraqi Freedom. I was the lead tank for the 3rd Infantry Division in the assault in 2003 in the invasion of Iraq. Throughout the time periods that I've served throughout the military, I've found myself in a position where I was going through a lot of changes, and I wasn't really understanding why. Became extremely reclusive in my family. Didn't put a whole lot of thought into things that I was doing. Started drinking heavily, and I really didn't understand why. I met Harold about 2 years ago after I was injured the last time in Iraq and was medevac back to the U.S.
As a young officer, I found myself in Vietnam serving with 5th Special Forces Group. Expecting to lead 40 soldiers, I was actually leading a long-range reconnaissance team of 6 soldiers, counting myself. Instead of routine missions, we would do long-range missions deep behind enemy lines. During the rest of my career, I was in Honduras for a while, I was in the Middle East for a while, I was down in Grenada. It seemed that there was a problem area. I went, did my job, and tended to bottle it up. Most of us in uniform do bottle it up. Eventually, it just told me I had to get it out. I had to come to grips with it in order to carry out a normal life.
TAT is actually an acronym for Tapas Acupressure technique. It was developed by a woman named Tapas. And it basically involves holding a few pressure points on your face and the back of your head and going through some cognitive statements that help the brain clear the emotional component of the traumatic experience. If you have an experience that's emotionally charged and you suppress it, then you bury that memory alive. And so nightmares, intrusive memories, it's going to keep pushing up to the surface saying this isn't resolved yet.
Yeah, I found myself placed in the military kind of working out of my job expertise. I'm a 19 series tank commander. Very well informed on the vehicle. I've done a lot of training. I've trained a lot of people on it. The situation we found ourselves in Iraq is we had moved from our operational specialties to everybody being a soldier, kind of the way the Marines operate. Everyone's a rifleman. I had a lot of issues dealing with that personally because I was expected to train soldiers and move soldiers in a very dynamic way to keep them safe. I had not trained this, throughout my military career. I had worked basically in my operational specialty. I found a lot of frustration and a lot of pain within because I, as a leader, wanted to train my soldiers and bring them in and out of combat. I stressed myself to a point where I had completely ended all feelings that I had. I had to overlook the personal effects, and what happened was I started pushing the personal issues and the personal problems deeper and deeper within, and I was closing off the world around me while I was doing that. I had to find something that worked and something that was going to bring me out of that, back to a place of reality in a way that I actually enjoyed being around people.
Several months ago, I had a chance, thanks to Harold McRae, to sit in on a 2-week session with Tapas where we went through the TAT process. As Harold explained, we had some images that we lock away. You don't spend 2 years in combat deep in the jungle without carrying images with you that last a lifetime. Images of soldiers you've led, other soldiers that you've been in combat with, and enemy. Those images tend to come forward when you least expect them. I did go through the TAT process, and I actually, at the end of the sequence, told Tapas I wish I had found that process 35 years ago, because for the first time it allowed me to put it behind me. I don't forget, but I don't live with those kind of images, thoughts, and experiences that I carried with me forever.